there's any player that can take down Beast, I think Puppypaw is top of a lot of people's list. Definitely the top 3 for a guy who can contend. I think Puppypaw has had one of the most meteoric rises I can think of in Age of Empires 4. Like, you know, Wham's alongside him as well. Like, these guys going from rags to riches when you think about it, right? Qualifying to Wololo, being in the top echelon, like the top 10, I'd say, players in AOE4 right now. But yet, think back to their journey how it began. These guys had no competitive experience before Age of Empires 4.
Not at all. In fact, it's even crazier than that. Most of the players that you see dominating the ladder or dominating tournaments, the likes of Beastyqt, Marine Lord, or even B, these guys have been around ever since day number 1 of Age of Empires 4 esports. That is essentially 2 days after release. But talk about Wham, talk about Puppypaw. These guys, they weren't around at all before January. So they joined late to the party, and they have had the most rapid rise to power among all the players currently in the scene.
It's quite funnily enough boomers versus zoomers, right? The old guard versus the new, and that's what I love. Like, as someone I always warn people about, you know, when you talk about these players been on top of the game for maybe 5 years, and like, watch out for who's coming next, right? Because if you're on top, you know, like, potentially, like, well, realistically, all you have from there is to go down, right? There's nowhere else to exceed to, and there's always someone waiting to nip at your heels. And the cool thing is, as the game gets more complicated, as it evolves more, it keeps changing. Sometimes just being on top makes you complacent. It's why I'm a really big fan of what people like Marine Lord are doing, where they're not playing as much anymore, because it can lead to stagnation, whereas sometimes taking a step back and looking at the game can work to a bigger advantage. I think a player like Mister has proven exactly that.
Indeed, it's a balance, right? How much you think about the game and how much you actually play the game. You need some gameplay time to try out the strategies you think about, but as you said, if you are just too boxed in, if you just keep grinding 16 hours on the day, especially on the ladder, just doing the same builds over and over again, it's going to get some bad habits to you because you won't be as adaptive as other players who might think a little bit more about the game despite playing less.
Exactly. And you know, this is a little bit of advice I give to anyone who's struggling on ladders in the chat right now. Like, how do I get up? Help me, KP. I'm sick of being a Silver Surfer. Well, you know, here's a big tip to you. When was the last time you sat down and looked at your own gameplay? When was the last time you thought about your own gameplay? When was the last time you questioned what you're doing and why? Sometimes that introspection is what takes you forward. The ability to start dissecting why you lost is a big deal. And as something that if you look at the top players in the game, we've noted this before. You've seen this as well, Lidicor, right? Like, they actually know in the moment what they've done wrong, right? They can't rectify it easily, but they have a clear idea. And identifying the problem is part of the solution. Coming up with the solution completes that circle, right? So, like, they'll identify in the moment, but then they'll actually take time to assess what the better course of action would have been.
Exactly, and a key thing is that 80% of solving the problem is identifying the problem. Once you identify it, it's actually much easier to find a solution than just blindly looking at your tournament results and saying, oh shoot, I lost once again. So really, as you said, taking some time away from the game can be beneficial to some players and just looking at what went wrong and having a clear mindset as well.
That's what I love about AOE4 as well. Like, you know, there's upsides to team games, right? Like, the opportunity for more mistakes makes things kind of more spicy and unpredictable on a competitive level. But it also gives me someone to blame every time we lose. These guys don't have another teammate they can blame in these 1v1s.
That is for sure. So far, very standard openings on both sides. If you can call a single scout build from the Chinese standard, getting more and more usual,
Has
yeah.
it become standard? I think, yeah, like, I think that's what you're going for. Like,
I
because
have mixed
of the,
feelings.
Really? You think they should still go for the double scout?
I think with the Chinese, I would probably vouch for a double scout. It's tricky because obviously it delays you even more when it comes to adding Imperial officers and villagers, but I feel like if there's any civilization where you really want to maximize the amount of sheep you gather, it's probably the Chinese. So that's why I would probably still prefer a 2-scout build, but I agree with you on the remark that indeed, recently players started to deviate more and more from the 2-scout builds, and we're back to the stage where players are operating with 1 scout only in Dark Age.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit better. Like, you're noticing you can get a little bit quicker time on the Imperial Academy. You build it up so fast, and then you kind of offset that issue. The cool thing as well, I think the Chinese is like, although you're not going to get the gains from extra sheep, you can get extra scouts later, because if you think about most Chinese builds, I'd say like 60-70% of them do feature stables.
Yep. And you can supervise the stable, so it really just takes a couple of seconds to pop out that next scout. In fact, one of the OG builds that the Chinese had was professional scouts using that stable. We are not going to see that today, though, because it looks like the villagers
no.
are moving out for a Barbican.
Are they moving out for a Barbican or an Outpost? Because I feel like the Outpost before Barbican is a lot better, right? Like, how many times have we seen someone just have a fat L off the back of trying to rush the Barbican?
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. I didn't look at the resources, though. Both of them are an option, but you get the feel that it would be a tower. First Horseman already out there, so despite the fact that Beast does have a barracks, he doesn't field a single military unit, and I guess the idea is Stone Denial here could actually work to great effect. Look at the stone count that Beasty has.
Yeah, it's not just the stone, it's the gold as well. So, like, Beasty gets stripped of options, and have a look where his next gold vein is. It's north. It actually can still get blocked out by the same dense quantity of outposts and Barbicans in one area.
Speaking of Barbican, it is gonna be a Barbican being dropped here. Villagers now being pulled by Beasty for a counter tower.
Oh, I don't know, Lidda. Like, this outpost, it need to go up first from 1puppypaw. He identifies it a little bit late, and now it's a melee mosh pit. The upside for him, these Dark Age Spearmen do the same damage as villagers, so he does get a reasonable fight in his favor. The downside, however, is that Beasty is successfully going to be getting that outpost up.
That's a big W out there for Beastyqt. In fact, he doesn't even finish the tower. Look at that. He's gonna cancel it and get a full refund for this one. Total domination by Beasty. Denies the Barbican without barely spending any resources, really.
Even more than that, he isn't going to deny it straight away. He wants to keep it as a looming threat in case 1puppypaw comes back. He wants to chase him cross-map. Now, one upside 1puppypaw did get, you can see it in the eco count. He is almost 4 villages ahead right now, and that's without Song Dynasty activated.
That's actually pretty sick. Beasty probably was distracted for quite a while, and he missed out on some villager production in all certainty.
I think he lost 2 villages in the melee mosh pit as well. Like, a spearman went down, and then there was 2 villages. It's kind of hard to tell, right? Because if you look at spearmen and villagers, it's very easy to miss the spear on the ground. And outside that, like, they're basically wearing the same uniform.
Yeah, it was a very chaotic fight as well, right behind the Barbicans. It was a little difficult to keep track of. And look at that, no fresh foodstuffs. That's a bigger thing.
Hold me.
That's why he's missing it. He can't afford the villagers.
Yeah, and he's gathering stone right now because he's like, oh, I need the TC. Now he's overboomed on stone, continues to do so. What?
Yeah, this aggression from 1puppypaw is actually doing a lot more damage than initially anticipated. Beasty went for wheelbarrow, but lack of gold is going to haunt him. He can't afford fresh foodstuffs, and because he has so low food income, he can't even make villagers because they are just so pricey for a crippled food eco like what he has.
He looks crippled when he's chasing after these horsemen. I mean, just 3 of them are actually doing a decent amount of damage, delaying things, slowing it down. Beastyqt now 5 villages behind. Remember, 1puppypaw did get into Song Dynasty, so he escalates. And now that he sees that Beastyqt went onto stone, he can go onto stone and get his own TC. And the beautiful thing about being the Chinese, 2 TCs equal 3.
And a key thing is that he was already up by 5 eco, plus he has the Imperial officers as well. This is such a good position for 1puppypaw to be in, partly because he threw off Beast's early game build so much with that. Beast's reaction was great, but it still did a lot of damage to the eco, simply because Beast after that was a little slow to recover from that first push, still lacking the critical upgrade that I've completely forgot the name of, actually.
Fresh food stuff, so just fresh your brain up there. Yeah,
that's the one.
And please tell me he's clicked it. Please. Like,
he doesn't have gold KP. He's sitting at 91 with no gold income.
Wait,
he didn't click it.
Why? How? No.
I think he forgot.
It's gonna be one of those goldfish memory moments,
like 3
isn't
DCs.
it?
That's even worse.
No.
How is he going to afford that KP? I have no idea.
Bank of Mum? I don't know. Like, if I was the banker and you came in asking for a loan and I looked at what you've done here, BC, I know you're considered like a top 3 player in the game, but in this game right now, it is looking like the pressure got to you, my friend. 1puppypaw doesn't realize yet how good he's got it.
Yeah, the credit score of Beasty won't like the loan that he's about to take here, and the other thing that he won't like is the possibility for 1puppypaw to go into an early castle here and start popping out some palace guards. So this game so far looking really good for 1puppypaw.
You can see 1puppypaw. He's just going to try to force some idle time, be annoying. He doesn't realize just how annoying he's truly been so far. Finally, the gold is being gathered. Beastie still doesn't have enough. That's what makes us even more annoying.
Will he remember it, though? That's the big question.
I hope so. Like,
He should.
why else are you
100%
getting
should.
gold right now? Spearman. A bit
Hello?
annoying. Poppy Paw. Whoops.
Hello?
A little bit slow on the reaction, so it looks like one of the villagers will go down, but Rester's going to react in time. Puppy Paw was being insanely greedy. You mentioned that Castle Age. He stopped producing units, so these spearmen can actually harass a lot of eco. And yeah, like you can see Vodka, he's like, PC Pro, I love you, I'll help you out. No, it doesn't work that way. You can't do that, Vodka, all right?
Yeah, and this is what I was referring to. Sure, think he's gathering gold, but at this stage of the game, all Beastyqt players have fresh foodstuffs, so you completely forget about the fact that he doesn't have it, because you wouldn't assume yourself missing that key upgrade.
Ah, boy, oh boy, Beastie, he's written so many build orders, he's scripted so many build orders to make YouTube videos of, that he's kind of got into a cycle of it. And finally, you will realize, but at 10, almost 11 minutes into the game, the amount of additional food you've been missing out. I guarantee BC only realized that because he kept looking at his food numbers, and he's like, I should have more.
Exactly. It's very late here. He could have afforded it a little sooner as well. But as you said, he probably only realized it because he felt like something was really off. In the end, gets the upgrade, but he missed out on a lot of food, and that could be the difference maker in the Castle Age timings.
Now, what's important next is Puppy Paw finds a way to up the pressure, because Beastyqt, whenever we tune into his games, we kind of have a joke where we say, I hope you didn't have anywhere to be this evening, because it's going to take a while. And you can see by those walls going up, Beastyqt has probably got a smug look on his face right now, saying, let's drag this one out.
Exactly, and those layers will secure him just in time to think about crossbows going towards Castle Age, because in a way, the Chinese are rather predictable in this matchup. They want to go for the Palace Guards on the Castle Age, so Beastie knows fully well that's going to be the thing, and as he's going up with the Culture Wing, he already has his eyes set on the crossbows.
And they're deterred away from the Chugenu, right? Because in Castle Age, the Abbasis can just build Mangonels.
Exactly. Now, Puppy Paw is moving on to Stone. Makes me wonder whether he just wants to go for a very swift game over here, aggro with the Palace Guards and maybe a keep drop.
Intimidating Spearman. They really hate taxes. However, they really need to stop skipping leg day. Cannot actually catch him quick enough here. Wait,
You were saying that.
What is that pathfinding? Oh, lordy.
I wonder if he actually unclicked it and the tax collector just decided to do his own work, got slain in the end by the spearman.
He's like, that was the building over here that needs to be taxed. No,
Yep.
no, greed. Well, the pass guard are at least starting to come out, so Puppy Paw will have an answer. Remember that he can supervise that as well, so can quick produce. So far, not choosing to do so. And for good reason, right? Like, Beastie isn't fielding overwhelming pressure here. It's just a bunch of throwaway spearmen.
Exactly, this is just delay here from Beastie, but it's perfect delay. He has spotted the Palace Guards, he knows exactly what unit to expect and what to prepare a counter for.
I actually love what Beastie done there. This is something that you can only really do to that extreme with the Abbasids. Low health spearmen came out of the middle of the mosh pit and went to the outside and continued attacking. It's such a great little detail. If you guys are trying to up your Abbasid game and wondering why you can't achieve those amazing win rates, look at your early game micro. Like, if you get a prolonged Feudal or Dark, you can do a lot of work with Phalanx.
Exactly, Abbasid Spearmen with Phalanx are dirty, and look at that, they're moving in for the villagers here. A lot of eco damage done by just a handful of spears.
Yeah, the Shiv's out are threatening, good lord. Got some range on that knife. Pass guard, enough of them now to chase away, but time bought. Beastie does make his way up to Castle Age, and this is where we see the transition. You mentioned the crossbows. It's also going to be joined by the men-at-arms.
And he's got the walls up, right? So it takes so much time for Puppy Paw to break in, and that's going to buy time for Beastie to keep adding those crossbows. Also mixing in some camel archers here, and some men-at-arms. Very diverse unit composition that Beastie is fielding here in early castle.
Yeah, Beastie, he forgot about a certain tech for a while, but somebody he was not going to forget about is the fact that Puppy Paw pushed Horsemen at the beginning of the game. It means that there's a looming threat of cavalry coming out, so he wants to make sure he's insulated against that.
And I love it, because with the Supervise, you can easily get a couple of Horsemen out there to counter the crossbows. So he respects his opponent's ability to appear with a completely different type of unit in a matter of seconds, and he's going to be preemptively prepped for that.
Now we'll see the Nester Bee starting to be built up by Puppy Paw. Makes sense. He's now up against a static formation. This is where BC might want to consider going towards his favorite unit in the game. He hasn't really been quoted saying it in interviews, but we don't really need to ask that question because it's so obvious. I am, of course, talking about Horsemen.
Indeed, he doesn't need the Horseman right now. It's gonna be a factor in the future, I guess, because his opponent's still playing very open, but for the time being, he's more than happy with this slow-moving unit composition because he's the only one with the walls up, so he can be the one dictating where the fights take place and when they take place.
Yeah, I think something that's going to encourage him is scouting this, right? He just revealed the pocket eco for puppypaw. That's a lot of value. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts switcherooing into all 3 unit types in the next minute.
I love how you said scouting it, and we have just witnessed that scout being massacred by 50 villagers.
He's like, send the message back to base. There are a lot of people here. Okay.
How much?
Like, oh,
I mean, just enough to kill me.
it's like, oh, yeah, okay, there's a lot of people here. So you want me to tell them we're having a party over here? No, send military force. It's a military party. Is it exclusive? No, send something to kill. But right now, puppypaw is the one sending something to kill. It's gonna be that keep drop you mentioned earlier. He's moving in, and look at all the forward infrastructure he's gonna block out.
That's a beautiful keep out there. And the thing is that Beasty's forces are split in half. He couldn't rejoin his forces, just now doing that on the south. And his men-at-arms also raiding puppypaw's eco here. He doesn't have everyone back at home. And this could easily allow puppypaw to finish that keep.
The thing I'm worried about, it's not just the keep alone, it's the fact that the Palace Guard are torching everything down. There's a lot of Palace Guard here. Love how they just ignore the dude walking by, like, what's up, Imam? Good to see you out and about for a walk. Beasty being greedy as expected, going for the relics. But puppypaw not caring because he's looking for a quicker timing in this game.
You're saying that, but the keep goes up in time, so the Imam goes down.
He's like, maybe he didn't notice, maybe he didn't, you just hear the clicking of the bolts. You're like, oh, okay.
So are those barracks.
He subscribes to Beasty's books. He's like, what was that? What was that key play? Drop a key, take the stone? Yeah, I think I'm going to try that one.
And he's using that to great effect, taking down so many production buildings. Beast is going to struggle to replenish this army here soon.
And keep in mind that you do get access to siege by building in the field as the Abbasids, but someone you cannot build in the field is Trebuchet, so he has had to stop off for siege workshops to get into those, and it will take him a long time to build them.
And the Springolds are already out there, Clock Tower Springolds those are, so there's already counter-prepped here by puppypaw.
Palace Guard just baiting Beasty towards this strong point defense he has no answer to. And the worry here is Palace Guard, we didn't talk about it yet, they move faster, a lot faster than pretty much everything Beasty's fielding right now, so they have got the ability to just ignore this main fight and go after eco.
Stone sufficient for a second keep. I think he's going for it. Yeah, here go the villagers.
Oh, baby. North side as well, because he knows there's resources up here that Beasty wants, and then he can focus the south side with maybe a few lancers raiding in, but for now, he wants to snoop out, he wants to look for a pristine target. And these men-at-arms, I honestly don't feel like they've done a lot here, Lidicor. They're annoying, but that's about it.
If you look at the overall eco counts, they had a relatively minimal impact, and puppypaw will just shrug it off. For him, it's more important to get these keeps up.
puppypaw was just looking for the next stone outcropping. He's like, I can afford a new one, then I need to get more resources for the next one. And Beasty's like, crap, he's playing my own strategy here. And the problem is it's Chinese, so you can't build a defensive keep quicker than he can build one there.
Trebuchet getting taken down here by the Palace Guards with massive casualties for puppypaw running into the crossbow fire. So many Palace Guards sacrificed.
It's so worth, right? Like, the keep, that's all that matters. The Palace Guard can be replaced indefinitely. The only weakness, of course, is puppypaw will need to set up farms for the next 2 minutes. But outside that, it's the stone that's the finite resource. And speaking of stone, Beasty's been blocked out. He did at least gather enough for a keep of his own, but he will gather no more in that area.
And the remaining Palace Guards, they pay for their price. They are now raiding to the south.
He hasn't noticed yet, Lidicor. The stone outcropping is still being gathered from, but all those villagers are going to die, and you're going to see a clear eco lead for puppypaw.
It's a distraction.
Where are these villagers going?
What?
Beasty?
Oh my goodness, that's terrible.
A few more just dropping. Another keep going up. Puppypaw's like, fine, you guys can emigrate away. You can find a new kingdom. But I'm blocking off access to the homeland. More keeps going up on the north side as puppypaw starts to carve up the map.
And puppypaw, he's doing such a good job with his raids, distracting Beasty, allowing himself to finish those keeps. And the one in front of Beasty's base is going down, but what's the price Beasty is paying for this? Look at the villager count of Beasty. It's gone.
The outposts as well, gonna make even more villagers gone. I love this from puppypaw. He's like, no, I don't want to farm transition. You farm transition. And another keep. Wait, he can actually... Okay, he needs a stone, and he can build it from the stealth forest. The puppy paw. I just love the way... Like, I remember watching this guy in his infancy. This guy used to spam Mongols and Chinese and outpost rush his opponents. Oh, how he has evolved, Lidical. Look how elegant he is. It's no longer outpost rushes. It's castle rushes.
How many keeps do you want to build, Puppy Paw? Yes.
More. Oh, good lordy, lordy. And the Trebs, I mean, they're working overtime to get rid of these defenses, but Puppy Paw, there's enough stone to go around the map still. Keep in mind, he was taking away beasties, so worst case scenario, he can still just go gather at home and build even more keeps.
And the key thing here is that he's up by 40 eco now, whereas his opponent's eco not looking spectacular, limited on map control. And as you said, he wants to force Beast to make a farm transition, which will leave Beasty more vulnerable for even more time. That's the window that he's looking for. He himself actually in the middle of a farm transition.
But you have to combine those statements together. Farm transition while 40 eco behind. And now it's happening on both sides. Hi caramba, that's not a pretty picture for Beasty. And Puppy Paw, of course, is going to get great value out of his farm transition due to those granaries.
Indeed, that's the key thing. The granaries will just boost up in the skies, and still so much eco exposed here that could be raided. Finally, a counterattack comes in from Beasty, but once again, it's not something terrific. Not something that Puppy Paw really has to be scared about.
Oh no, these very slow-moving men-at-arms. It'd be a shame if I was to just ignore them and eventually walk away. Or just obliterate them with 4 Nesta Bees. And meanwhile, look at the difference. Men-at-Arms can't move, Palace Guard can. They're going to chase those villagers down and slowly kill them.
Can we just give a shout out to the villagers that Puppy Paw has inside Beast's base gathering that large stone mine? He has gotten enough for a second keep again.
That's the goal. Drop a keep, grab a stone, drop another keep. There's only 3 villagers left this time though, and it looks like Beasty is wise to their strategies.
They survive. 2 villagers in a dream.
If he somehow builds a keep with 2 villagers, like MVP of the week.
Speaking of that's keeps, not gonna work.
No, not that many Palace Guard. They're so quick to pounce on top of you. Remember, the difference in what you've been seeing so far is Chinese building keeps. They do it a lot quicker.
Oh, Beasty.
Oh, lordy. He's being beaten at his own game right now. I just love this out of Puppy Paw.
Look at the towers. How infuriating that is going to be. And Beast is not going to spot them because he's just distracted elsewhere trying to get that keep up. Finally gets rid of the keep inside his base, but once again...
I love Puppy Paw. Every stage of this game is like, well, time for more stone. Time for more stone. Every time a fight finishes, we find him on another stone outcropping.
He can afford another keep here. Like, he's just spamming keeps. I don't know how many he has built, but he's probably reaching 10 by now. It's phenomenal in a way, crazy in another.
Didn't even cancel the keep Lidical, just minus 800 stone. Like, Beasty, this is a guy that says he doesn't get tilted often. He's like, oh, even though I have a 1% chance, I feel good about me coming back in the game. I don't know, man. Like, that keep not being deleted, like, small details like that. Like, and maybe just thinking back to the fresh foodstuffs, even a calm-headed guy like Beasty has to be feeling the pressure and annoyance in this game.
I mean, he almost ran into the nest of bees with the crossbows out there. He's gonna be more than happy to avoid that volley.
Beasty, he was worried about having to deal with bees in the final, but now he has to deal with nester bees here in the semis, and damn, are they looking effective when you consider that Beasty is over-leveraged into slow-moving units.
You know what else he's over-leveraged into? Gold. He's sitting on 5.5k gold in the bank.
But Puppy Paw, he understands what the true gold of this map is, as it's proven time and time again. It's the stone.
Less shiny, but just as effective.
Heavier, you know? So you should throw at people, they'll feel the pain more. I think, like, well, it depends on the density of the stone, right? So, like... See, now we're getting way too kind of geological about this. Like, different stones, different weights, right? And what's the purity of this gold, Lidical? Come on. Like, are we talking modern gold? Or true gold?
All I can say is that this game so far is pure gold, KP.
This is, I mean, I expect beyond diamond because these guys are conquerors, so it should be high value. Even more elbows coming out. Puppy Paw's like, time to reveal the keep down here. Surprise, Beasty! But Beasty has his own surprise prepped. He's taken up.
Oh, but this could leave him vulnerable. Look at this. Villagers fleeing all across the map here. His eco's gonna get torn to shreds. He could fall to 60 villagers by the time he reaches Imp.
the Beastie greed. The men-at-arms are here to react, but what about the north side? The entire army was peeled down here. Just a few Power Scout could snipe all the siege, and he knows that puppypaw switches target. Power Scout are coming across because the trade value over here in the center is far too high to pass up.
He also needs to save that keep. He needs to take down the trebuchet. Looks like Beastie is gonna pull back most of his forces, and the defense here is pretty stellar. Ooh, keep also goes down.
And Treb's trading out defenses in the meantime. Good thing you noticed that. Still 2 of the Springles are going to go down. Trebuchet is still also full. Beastie, you know, he's going to complete that tech up, sure, but like you already highlighted, not from a position of power here. His eco over 50 behind. When was the last time you said that about Beastie?
I beg to differ, because there is a massive thing that we overlooked here. Beastie is sitting on 4 relics as compared to just 1 here from puppypaw. That could be his saving grace here in this game, because that is able to offset most of the eco difference.
That's true. Although the farms are still spreading out, and also it's the numbers, right? That's a little bit worrying. Like the gathering rate differences. You look at food, you look at wood, you look at gold. Like this is the thing. Puppypaw's on limited resources, but he's got a bigger surge in the next several minutes because of the size of his economy.
Talk about size of the economy as he's mining stone with 50 villagers, but yeah, still, he's the one with momentum. That's the bigger thing here.
Palace Garden again. I don't know where these sprills are going. Beastie from good micro to what micro? Tech up completes, but just as it does, all the siege is going down, and alongside it, all the fort outposts at the front of his base.
Oh, that's a lot of damage taken here by Beastie, and he's struggling for wood above all.
Did you hear that noise? Did you hear it, Lytical? Puppypaw. Oh, you teched up? Let me just save for Imperial Age as well. I can afford it.
Yeah, and he's gonna do just that, while also pushing deeper into Beastie's base. Beastie's struggling for wood. Look at that. That's the only forest that he can take. Everything else is being towered or raided, and this is something that puppypaw knows fully well.
Finally, the cavalry come out. Beastie's like, okay, I've had enough of this. The time to get into my prime here. And it's a good value unit considering it's only been Power Scarred and nothing to defend here. So we'll snipe some of the siege. Probably the best value exchange we've seen so far, but you consider the amount of Power Scarred it took puppypaw to kill off Beastie's siege.
Exactly, that was a really good trade out there, especially if you had those 2 Nest of Bees just chilling in the middle of the battlefield out there being picked off by the man-at-arms.
It's like a final stand moment. Like, I'll take you all on. It's like, yeah, Papa, you're gonna die, but how many can you take with you? Man, thinking forward into Imperial Age, I wonder what kind of transition we're gonna get. It's like, can we go back? It's not a keep, but it is a keep.
You just gotta love that. It also secures the stone mine as usual.
Not just that, it secures the sacred site. Like, puppypaw could switch the script and target that, because what's the weakness of Beastie's comp so far? He can't react to the flanks. So decap and sacred sites might be difficult.
Yeah, that could be a factor, but looks like puppypaw just wants to go in with more keeps. He's got stone for another one.
Hello! Oh, are you farming here? I'm here to farm kills. Don't mind me. You keep working. Wait, he hasn't got the stone yet. Nice.
He used it elsewhere.
Bro. Imagine just taking your villagers and diving here. Like, I'm overboomed, guys. 150 is too much. Keep on the other side. Goes up in time. Oh, this is infuriating.
This must be so tilting. By the time you get rid of one of those keeps, there is 2 new ones built in their place.
But I love that he's doing this to Beastie. And it's not because I hate Beastie, it's because Beastie does this to everyone else. It's like, yeah, react to me, react to me, react to me. And Beastie is too busy putting out fires to do anything productive.
And as you're saying that he's down to just 24 army, 86 eco out there, this is taking a toll on his eco, and puppypaw is not done yet. Once again, getting some more stone for future keeps.
Bro, it ain't just the villagers becoming the Abbasid Empire. The taxmen are here now. Did you see that detail? There's an Imperial official in that stone outcropping.
I love that. Every single bit you can harvest from the stone mine, he's gonna grab.
Tax, 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 or rather, inflation, inflation, inflation. More stone, more keeps, and Beastie in more trouble here. Building siege. EGCTV is not what you need. You need EGCTV.
He doesn't have the eco to Zerg here. His eco is a train wreck. He's got the food, but even that is going to disappear soon. And you see, he's struggling with numbers big time, down to 25 army.
It's also the wood. Think about what those keeps on the east side are. If puppypaw doubles down on his little Magano line down there, no wood. And so no extra TC. This keep, he understands how small Beastie's army is. Like, don't mind me, I just have a permit to build something here. I'll be done in a sec.
Yeah, indeed, he's gonna be done in a sec. Bombard's already rolling out to take it down, but PuppyPaw doesn't seem to care.
Pull the villagers. Just pull,
Yep.
dive the base and burn the bombards. He can do it right now because Beasty has no standing army.
And here it
we
goes.
go. Some are repairing, some are out for blood or splinters in this situation. And now the horsemen even show up, Beasty. That's 2k resources for what, like 300 in stone repair costs?
At least PuppyPaw is down to -2 stones, so Beasty can't complain.
Oh, so I'll put an end to him, right? It's not like he's still got that stone outcropping with the tax man that you can go back to, right? Oh, wait. Huh. Still quite a little bit of stone in there, Lytical.
Yep, indeed. I mean, new keeps will become a reality very soon here. Once again, a bombard gets taken down. Beasty's struggling so much to stop this.
Even the Lancers, like, this is the problem. The Lancers aren't a great solution to the siege because you need that gold for siege.
You get the feel he needs everything now, down to 86 eco. And he's just being suffocated by all these keeps all across his base.
Wish we had, like, mid-game interviews. We could just hop in the VoIP channel. Hey, Beasty, what's your chances of winning right now? Because you say you quit out when you've got, like, only a 1% or less chance of winning. Do you still think you have a 1% chance? Beasty right now is like, yeah, I mean, like, PuppyPaw's eventually going to run out of stone. And there's always a chance, like, a giant tree will fall in his power line. So I still think I'm in this.
It's like a dog sitting in the fire. It's fine. It's fine.
In this case, the fire is actually replaced by castles everywhere.
Speaking of castles, PuppyPaw is getting closer to that marvelous number of 800 stone in the bank once again, so you know what comes next.
A GG. A GG is what's coming next. Beasty. The overwhelming pressure. PuppyPaw takes him down in game 1 and now finds himself ready on match point to try and make this quick. And I gotta say it, Lytical, it's gotta be said. PuppyPaw had Beasty's number in this game. And if he plays anything like this in game 2, this is going to be a very quick one-sided series.
Absolutely, and I mean, the killer instinct, this is a factor we talk about so much for the players. The ability to finish games, the ability to press on and just not let your opponent come back into the game. You really feel like this was a pristine example of that being there for PuppyPaw. Never really slowed down, and he just didn't leave a single second of breathing room for Beasty.
I think that's the important thing as well. Like, where have we seen people fail against Beasty? Oh, I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to get my castle and I'm going to get like 4 TCs and everything. No! Don't do that, because Beasty will be more greedy than you. He will find it, like, he just senses it. It's like a dark force ability that he has. It's like, I smell greed. I'll do more greed. Like, you have to be aggressive. It's what I loved out of PuppyPaw here. He was relentless.